Hi, everybody. So, welcome back, Kelley. Kelley and I are going to do, and she's mainly going to do it, an astrological discussion about the new moon. So, we have some really big energy moving right now, and this is going to help that because so many people concentrate on astrology. So, it's going to be really good as far as I feel like we're going to clear out a lot of stuff during this time. That's what it feels like to me is happening. And I know that that was instigated kind of over the weekend. So you may be feeling really worn out, and that is the energy pushing. There were some massive solar flares too. So, anyway, Kelley, I'm really excited to hear about what the new moon is doing.
Yes, well, we're a few hours away from it yet, but it is one of the monthly markers that's pretty important in terms of a new cycle. It's a rhythm. The new moon, the full moon, the new moon, the full moon. It's a rhythm, and the moon it has so much. Those rhythms have a lot of impact on our biology, and I always count on you, honey, to kind of like alert to the solar flares and that kind of thing, because I don't always keep up with that. So because it's a lot, it's happening so much.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so the new moon is in Taurus. And shall I bring up the chart now? I might as well.
Yeah.
We don't need to keep
Yeah.
it up the whole time, but there are a couple of interesting things, about any chart, new and full moons, the choreography and the celestials are
Mhm.
really like wow. So here we have the new moon chart. And so we've been looking at these charts for a few months, and we will note that they're still like the planets are really packed together down there in the bottom of the chart, which is based on the time of the new moon in Vermont. So you don't pay too much attention to that. That cluster could be anywhere for you, but that is planets packed into basically three signs. There are two planets in Pisces, and Saturn and Neptune. So, and then is a whole pack of planets there in Aries. And then we have even more in Taurus. And in part because that's where the new moon is, in Taurus,
Mhm.
halfway through, a little more than halfway through Taurus. So this pack of planets is going to start stretching out by the end of the month a little bit, but we're now post eclipse season. The last new moon was a solar eclipse. That seems like ages ago,
Yeah.
but here we are. This is it. We're starting a new cycle. And to me, it's about grounding all of the dynamics that were going on through the eclipse and also through the combination we had of Jupiter meeting Uranus and amplifying the level of change that we're experiencing. So we're kind of, I don't think we can use the word settle right now, but at least trying to ground it and kind of feel the kind of a level of gravity kind of having us feel our weight and feel our strength. There's Taurus. It's like a tree. This is a tree hugger sign. So we could go out and hug a tree and ground. That's one of the best
Yeah.
things to do this month, just helping our bodies settle down.
Mhm.
Even if the energies aren't, how can we settle down within the dynamic that's going on and the solar flares coming in and do whatever you have to do. Taurus is a sign about getting to the basics. This is food, shelter, sleep, water, just the basics. And if we can get those together, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have the sun
Go
and
ahead.
moon there, and that's the theme of the month. So
Go
did you
ahead.
want to
Sorry.
say something there?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Keep going.
So we also have the planet Venus in Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, so it's really grounded there. It's like, I'm in my glory. This is all the paintings of the goddess lying back in a field of flowers. This is just enjoying the beauty of life, the textures of life, good food. This is really, letting the senses enjoy the material world and really appreciating all that. So that's Venus and Taurus is also just really about beauty and harmony and aesthetics and love and abundance. Nature is very abundant. So we're talking about that, being one of the themes. And we still have Uranus and Taurus for another couple of years. We're still having one of the collective signs of the times be that very theme about basics and how do our lifestyles match those rhythms of nature.
Mhm.
And one of my new things is I'm definitely getting back to natural textiles. So I've got on my linen dress.
Nice. Yeah, I am
Yes.
too. I'm doing that. Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's one of the movements that's coming up. And then Jupiter is still in Taurus, which is, again, is just really the abundance of life. Now, Jupiter is going to be changing sign by the end of May. So this is the last week, 3 weeks maybe, of Jupiter being here. And so this Taurus energy is to just really, really appreciate it and really be with the grounding. And
Mhm.
again, settling down in our bodies. So that's part of the Taurus. And I'm calling this moon the shifting ground, grounding the shift moon. Because things aren't going to totally settle down, things are going to kind of keep moving along. And that is in part because of all these planets in Aries. Aries is the go-getter sign, the pioneering sign, the blazing the new trail sign, and it's very, very occupied, partly by Mars. Mars rules Aries. So Mars rules Aries, and it's like, go for it, do it, activate, can't sit back. Taurus would like to sit back. Taurus is like the couch potato sign. Just wants to like, I'm in a good groove. Like there's got to be a good reason to get up and move. And we're going to get a good reason. So there's Mars. So this is interesting that Mars is in its strength and Venus is in its strength. So emotionally, it's an interesting month because those two planets represent the male and female aspects of our experience, and they're both in their strength.
Yeah.
So following an impulse, the impulse that has the most I want to say glitter, but I don't mean glamour glitter. I mean shimmering energy, that has the most excitement behind it. There's a lot of sense of excitement here. And if we aren't keeping up with it, we're going to feel more the anxiety side of excitement. And we want to go with
Mhm.
the excitement. It's like, yeah, I want to do it. So this is Mars. And this is one of the new Kuiper Belt objects that are into the quantum field, which I call that new section of the solar system that we've been discovering things in. And this quantum
Mhm.
field, there's Salacia, the mermaid who makes the sunlight sparkle on the sea. And she's going, what lights up your life? What ideas are coming up that you really want to follow up on? And then Taurus kind of, how much energy do I want to give this? Was this just a flash in the pan and I needed to see that, I needed to know that, and I'm on to the next flash? Or is this something I'm going to stay with and really, because Taurus wants to have something to show for, but Aries is like, no ideas, no ideas. And one of them is going to grab me. One of them is, I'm going to really get into it. And that's the one we're looking for. So we
Yeah.
can be taking a lot of initiatives, but they're not all going to be long lasting. what we need. That's like a step on the road. That's a synchronicity is guiding our path, say.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
We're in a movable feast right now.
yes, yes, totally. It's and this combination, this is the dragon head. This is the leading edge of collective consciousness, which is the Aries. It is moving forward. We can't look back. We can't go back. We are moving forward. And what is the what appeals to help us move forward?
Mhm.
And then we had, this is one of the most interesting features of this new moon. It's Mercury and Chiron at 21 degrees. And so they're in the same degree, which means that this is a very powerful combination because there are two factors that are meeting up. And this is altered mind, altered perceptions.
I
And
love
was it
that.
last month or we had Mercury go retrograde in April, and we've actually had 3 of these alignments in the last couple of months. There was one on, where's my list here? March 20th, April 19th, and this new moon. So this is, Chiron is like shamanic. It
Mhm.
alters things. And it's like a paradigm shift energy. So something is different. Something is coming into view. Our minds are altering. Our neural
Yeah.
pathways are being rewired. And so we're
Mhm.
starting to perceive new energies, and our mental filters are shifting. It's like they're putting new color filters in there. So
Yeah.
we're getting more clear in our
Mhm.
perception. If we go there, you cannot go there, but it's like you're not going to be experiencing as much of the magic or the synchronicities that let you know you're on the path. Taurus can be a really stubborn sign. So it's like if you're going to dig your heels in and resist the change or trying something new or considering some kind of new idea, you're
Yeah.
going to be more anxious. Otherwise, you can be more excited. And when we get to the end of the month and we're having more Gemini energy, this is going to be a lot more curiosity and interest coming up with the information being presented. And some of this
Mm.
is blow your mind. Some of this is like, whoa. And that's already coming out. We're already getting a lot of, different kinds of information.
Yes, we are. So much good stuff. Did you want to talk about how we're at the end of a cycle with the precession of the equinoxes?
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
yes. And that is a kind of confusing thing because, in astrology, there are different kinds of astrology. And Western astrology, the kind I use, is called tropical, and it starts the sign of Aries at the spring equinox point on March 20th, 21st. But the sun is not in the constellation of Aries at that time. It's
Mhm.
in Pisces because of this long cycle called the precession of the equinoxes that takes 26,000 years, and each, like, the age of Aquarius. So
Yes.
that means that the sun is starting sometime soon, which is a bit controversial about when, but it's going to be rising. The sun is going to be rising in front of the stars of Aquarius, and that will be on spring equinox, and that will be the age of Aquarius. We're still in the age of Pisces to some extent, but we're certainly not. So the stars where the sun is on spring equinox is in Pisces. So if you're looking in the sky, say, to see where the moon is, you're not going to, well, you can't see it now on a new moon anyway, but when it starts to show itself as a crescent moon, it's not going to be in Taurus. It's going to be in the sign, in the stars of Aries. And some astrologies follow that, like the Vedic astrology keeps up with that. So if you have your Vedic astrology chart done, you know, I'm a Sagittarius, but in Vedic astrology, I'm a Scorpio. Because my son, when I was born, was near the red star that marks the heart of the scorpion. And that was seen as the ruby earring of the god Vishnu. I like that.
Oh,
So,
that's fun.
so, and some astrologers are sort of mixing modalities and talking about, you know, where the planets are now related to the stars. And so that can be very confusing. And, you know, I used to do stargazing almost every night when I lived in the Caribbean. And, you know, there I had to say, there's the moon near the horn of the bull. But in, you know, astrology, it's in Gemini, you know, so explaining this can be a bit confusing. But the ages, you know, there's take about 2000 to 2100 years or something like that. And it's not like the signs have a line drawn between them. So, you know, it's a fluid transitional period. But with all the computer activity, I think we've got to be pretty much in the age of Aquarius now.
Yeah.
So closing in on it anyway.
We are closing in on it.
So that's just to explain to people. And so there's also a cycle that is about the golden age, you know, and this is a Vedic. They talk about this in Vedic. There's the golden age, and then the silver age, and then I forget what they all are, but we're in the age of lead, right? We're in the Kali Yuga. We're in the darkest of the dark times, and we're going past the darkest moment. You know, the dawn, like, what is it? It's darkest before the dawn. So, you know, the dawn, the age of Aquarius. So we're at a really dark point here, but it's obvious if we're paying attention, right, that we're switching, the light's coming back. So we're in a kind of twilight zone. And,
we are, and there's some massive changes going on right now. And I think we don't remember a lot of times how many thousands of years we've been in a cycle, and we want things to change overnight. And a lot of us would be very grateful for that, but it would discombobulate so many things.
yes.
But we are in the process of some big falling, you know, lots of systems falling, and it's kind of amazing watching them. So that seems to be a really big theme for this month. The systems. Yeah. Because they seem to have reached kind of a pinnacle of craziness. You know what I mean? Like there's so much craziness. It's like once you get to a point, there's no turning back. And it seems like they're there at that point. So it's kind of a watch and see what happens this month.
Yeah, there's no common sense. You know, it's like the craziness has no sense behind it, and it doesn't work, and the systems aren't working. And to some extent, that's also following the trajectory of Pluto, which is a very slow moving planet right over here. And it's in Aquarius, just the beginning. And it went retrograde last week, I believe, which means it's not it from our point of view, it looks like it's turning backwards. So Pluto's saying we're getting as far as we're going right now. We've got to go back and clean up a few things in the fall. Capricorn is going to be where Pluto is just for a lot, like 2.5 months. And it's like the last cleanup. It's the clean sweep. It's getting the last like cobwebs out of the cellar and cleaning up the mold and doing that kind of dirty work.
Yeah.
So, and Taurus is also an earth sign that's saying, here's what's happening. Here's your current reality. It's a mess. It's not working and it's not natural. That's part of the consideration of Taurus, that it can be long lasting and like a tree, it's going to put down those deep roots so it can be fruitful. And anything, that's been poisoned is going to die. And we have a lot of poisons, that we're needing to clean up.
Yeah. There's a ton. It feels like we're going, I know it's the age of lead. Pisces is like we're in that age of lead and moving out of that. But it feels like we're actually moving out of metal, the age
Oh.
of metal, you know,
Hmm.
and moving into the age of water. So, and gold, if you think about it, the metals that we use as human beings, that we use for jewelry, that we use, they're malleable.
Mm.
Those metals are very valuable as well, and they're
Mm.
good for your body. So those metals have something special going on, gold, silver, and copper. And those
Mm.
were created for humanity, I think.
Mm.
So, and we are moving into that age of the golden age. So it's like we're coming out of the intense iron age and moving into the soft, malleable metal that's good for us. So, because it's still solid, it's still going to hold us up, but it's not gonna feel so cold and
Oh.
just unwelcoming, I think. So we're kind of moving into that. We're moving into the warmth where we needed to be. And this was the perfect time for Ascension to happen, really. Um, it's been attempted over and over and over again, but
Mm.
we're finally in the middle of it. And that has come from the souls being willing to heal themselves. And we're really moving forward in such a beautiful way. And I love that we can use the clock to kind of see where the energy is going to be at so that we can actually add to it and create with it. Because the astrological clock is still there, it's still being used right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a cosmic clock.
Mm-hmm.
And, that we have also this new realm of the Kuiper Belt, which is a whole like band with new discoveries
Mm-hmm.
that's more of a quantum consciousness inviting us to co-create. And one of the Kuiper Belt objects I have here that's really important right now is Haumea. We've talked about Haumea before. She's the Hawaiian goddess of childbirth, and she's just moved into Scorpio. So this is creation coming from a very deep, passionate place. Like, this
Mm-hmm.
is what I want, and Taurus is opposite Scorpio. So here we have Taurus, here's like reality. And Scorpio's going, yeah, but reality Like if you look deep into it, you'll see all these atoms and electrons and subatomics moving around. If you don't like your reality, go down there and rearrange that, and we
Yes.
do that in part through the power of desire. So there's
Mhm.
this question up. Um, let's see, how do I introduce this? So there's sapien symbols are images that were psychically channeled for each degree of the zodiac. That's 360 degrees in the circle.
Mhm.
And I'm interested in um, the, let's take a, hold on. I'm interested in this Chiron Mercury combination here, which we've had two of these. We're on the third of this mind altering energy. So the sapien symbol for this combination is the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. I love that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
There's a Buddhist term, they call it the gift fulfilling jewel. And sometimes they have a picture in like a pile of stuff in Tibetan Buddhism, and it's all the sacred stuff. And the jewel
Mhm.
is there. And so I had to look more into it because I've known about it, but I didn't really know what it means. And I came across this Buddhist teacher who talks about it this way. When we stop being intoxicated with ourselves and our creations, we awaken to the truth that we are part of the same single process that everything that comes into being is part of. As we come to rest within that process, we experience for the first time what it is to be free from conflict, what it is to be held. And in that moment, there is no remaining sense of anything lacking. This is the experience of the wish fulfilling jewel, because it transforms what we thought were our desires into what is really our desire and always has been our heart's deepest longing, which was to know for ourselves and to understand what is going on here and what we are part of. So these
Mhm.
filters are dissolving, and we're going to be seeing increasingly clearly. But it's also a kind of mind-blowing thing, like, whoa, really?
Yeah.
That's reality, you know?
Yeah, we're really seeing some amazing things right now that a lot of people they're amazed by. When I was off on my weekend, with the group visiting Anya and, a few other people who I don't know if they want to be mentioned, but when I was doing that, the experiences that people are starting to have are huge. Like they're glitches in the matrix and they're starting to notice them. The thing is those glitches are going on all around us all day long, but we never paid any attention. We never noticed that they were happening before. And now we're starting to see them. And it could be that, like one of them, and this is an experience that happened with Abby and I, but one of them is that we had the only suitcases that actually arrived on the belt. And when I was in Florida visiting, somebody else had that same experience. They were the only one that got a bag. So they went off and went to the bathroom and went around and found the bagging area, and they were the only one that had a bag that came off that carousel. And it's just really interesting because then you realize what actually was that, you know? Like we're creating our own environment. So we're creating our plane ride, you know? How much of that wasn't really real?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you think, like, if we're creating, so that takes a level of intention, do you think?
Well, we have a level of intention, and like I said, we're in a game, so our soul is like creating what is coming for us. And I think we create the next day, basically the night before, a lot of times, the small
Hmm.
experiences that are happening, um, and the decisions that we may make and stuff. But otherwise, it's in the moment. But
Very
everything
in the
around
moment.
us, yeah, everything around us is created by us. So, like when
Hmm.
I decided I was going to have my own little office and I was going to put it in a trailer, like a little camper trailer, this is my favorite color back here, this stove. And I had looked at lots of stuff. And all of a sudden, this one popped up and it was in the perfect scenario. It was a friend of my husband's friend who owned it. It was easy to access. We could go look at it more than once before we decided to buy it. All that kind of stuff. Like it was so simple. And I knew when I looked in
Mm.
the window that this was the one, you know, because it had the appliances, the sink, everything had this vibration that I wanted because of the color. And then I put the color everywhere inside of it. So, and it's in great shape. Like it's a 1966, camper trailer. So it's kind of an interesting way that we go about it. If we relax, then the things just
Yes.
show up. Yeah. So it's a great time to manifest right now.
Yeah, I had to book some travel and I didn't really want to take a plane, but that's the only way
Mhm.
to time wise, situation wise. And I had a little fear blip, about, and so I was having trouble booking my tickets.
Yeah.
And then, I had to do a little research. I had to do a little work through my little fear blip. I had to, I made a call. And then one day I just sat down and booked it.
Yeah.
So it just, getting the right moment. And that's what Chiron is about too, the shamanic energy of aligning spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And that is being in the moment. And so this
Yes.
Mercury Chiron combination is like about what are you perceiving in the moment without bringing any background stuff or memories to get in the way of how it was then. And then
Mhm.
also like not losing your balance because you're projecting out too far. So what is arising in the moment is where the magic is. And that's as clear as you can keep yourself. Aries is a sign of really being in your center and standing in your center and not being, off balance from other people. And that is really important right now over here. There
Mhm.
can be, we have to be so in relation to our soul self first before anybody else, you know, and
Yeah.
then that helps clarify number one, the essential desire, and number two, um, like rewires our brain to kind of see that or perceive that or find that or notice that,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah. It's so true. And Aries is like that in general as a sign. I have an Aries in my life that, I mean, the pushiness of it needs to happen right now was amazing. And, they were young and I was kind of like a mentor type to this person, but the intensity of it needs to happen and it needs to happen now that is an Aries trait, and it is really important for right now because it does need to happen now. We need to move forward right now. So
Yeah.
we're doing it in a big way, it feels like. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And if you don't do it now, if you're not sure or you can't decide, or you're ambivalent, all that gets in the way.
Hmm.
So we have to get to a place that where we're tapping into a more clear level of perception. Number one, about what the options are, and that's going to get more and more important too as we go into the next couple of months. There's going to be lots of options, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to keep on my track. I can't get too diverted. I can't get too distracted. So how do I, stay really clear and really in the moment, and Taurus grounded? So that's, the Taurus part also has a lot to do with our values. And I mentioned lifestyle before. So it has a lot to do also with money. And you were
Yes.
mentioning metals. Metals are
Hmm.
valuable. Metals and land is valuable. This is the stuff, you know. And so we that helps us ground, that helps us stay stable and gives us a level of security that's a little hard to find lately. So
Yeah.
considering the global financial shift that is going on, with the BRICS alliance. And I'm surprised how few people know about the BRICS alliance.
A lot of people don't know what is going on because it's not put out there enough and they're not on social media that's talking about it.
Mm.
There are huge changes they're happening already, like we're in the midst of them. And
Yes.
there's just a
Mhm.
little bit of veil that is the system in the United States that I won't, like it's the system that's about to crash. And that we can think of it as the veil as well. Like we have to be
Yes,
knocked out of
absolutely.
our comfort zone a little bit for us to change as humanity is gotten
That's
very,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the
So
Taurus.
that's,
That's the comfort zone. I don't
yeah,
want to get off the couch unless, there's a good reason. And, you're going to get kicked in the butt to do just that. And that
yeah,
veil, Neptune can be the veil, and Neptune is at the very end of Pisces. It's getting ready to change. It almost changes this summer and goes into Aries, which is more clarity, but it doesn't quite. It doesn't do it until next year. But that's another big planet, like Pluto just changed sign. That's like a
mhm,
big theme change. Neptune going into Aries is also going to be a big, like people are going to go, wow, like this is a whole different reality, kind of feeling.
yeah.
And then
I
the
do believe it
Uranus is
will
going to
be.
change.
Go ahead, sorry.
We're getting these big changes, like fast
Hmm.
paced. So just, stay with it. Hang
Yeah,
on to your hat.
hang on to your hat. Things will be fine. I mean, we're definitely moving through the last several days, we've moved through tremendous energy.
Mm.
And it definitely has been exhausting. Like I know some people are in bed today, and I totally would have been in bed today too. But they're just in bed because they're exhausted from the energy. And there's been some big stuff happening that has to do with embracing difference.
Yeah. Mm.
And, I think that probably Mercury brings that stuff up. Mercury is the energy of let's deal with another layer, you know.
Especially with Chiron, that's a paradigm shift. It's like the I Ching says, crossing the great water. We're crossing the great water, and we
Yeah.
need to be alert and vigilant. Um,
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
it's altered reality. And
it is.
what are the potentials? You know, I'm tend to be a positive minded person, but I've had my little fear blips and, just like, okay, I don't want to be there. I don't want to even think that way.
Mhm.
And some people, it's, I don't know how to even say it sometimes, but you were getting there just now. You were getting there.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on your own pattern. If you're going to stay,
Mm.
if you are staying in the fear mode, but I notice that the more and more you work on it, the less often you are. And also, you're letting go of the things like, do I really need to be afraid of this right now?
Yes.
Because what you're doing, if you're afraid about the future, then you're manifesting something to be afraid about.
Yes. Yes.
You're creating it. And
Mm.
I think that's something that's going to get people are going to have more and more awareness of it, but it's part of that radical responsibility, self-responsibility that is sovereignty, you know?
Chiron is about healing also. It's about a
Yeah.
healing crisis. So right
Mhm.
now it's in the mental realm to some extent. How you're perceiving things can be getting in your way.
Yes. Yeah. Because if you're caught up in, if I do this, then what's going to happen tomorrow? Then you're creating something that's not so great for tomorrow.
And it's tomorrow isn't even real.
No, it's not, it hasn't
Yeah.
manifested yet. So you're
Mm.
creating something else. And I think living in the moment, like for me, it was not that easy at first, but I'm getting better and better at it, you know?
Well, we kind of have to now,
We do.
because
We
things
have
are
to. We're being
changing so
forced. Yeah.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you post on Telegram, you post a lot of things by Bashar, and I
Yeah.
love Bashar. I'll never forget his motto, follow your highest excitement,
Yes.
because that's where the energy is alive and vibrant. And,
Hmm.
so sometimes excitement can feel like anxiety, but don't go there. Just keep it on the anxiety level. I mean, on the, oh, they keep it
The
on the
excitement
excitement
level.
level. Just flip it around, It
Yeah.
can feel similar. Because it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Let it stay exciting. And also, you have people are going to start to create their projects. Like I do see this year as a jumping into projects, um, and getting them started and building the momentum with whatever project you have for humanity. And that is basically what Bashar is talking about. Like whatever you're excited about,
Um,
that's your project.
Mars being in Aries is great for getting motivated and starting to think about it and starting to think about it differently and attracting all the ideas that can be parts, pieces to the puzzle of that project manifesting in the fullest, richest way. And we had that gift fulfilling jewel energy happening. So but you got to open the door to that. You got to walk through to that level of just wanting, desiring what is in your fullest alignment and the best for everybody.
Yeah.
you know.
And making room, like
Oh,
you have gifts coming in, making room for them, clearing away the clutter inside of your psyche so that there's room for your gift to land.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're clearing it on a lot of levels, get rid of stuff that's been piling up and you're not using it, get rid of those old ideas about what life is,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
work through forgiveness of everything and everyone. Doesn't mean
Yes.
you have to continue to spend endless time with like somebody that's hurt you or whatever, but take the time to forgive so that you release those feelings inside of you. and you can let
That's part of
go.
the Neptune as well. Neptune is about compassion, and in Pisces, it's so much about that. And we're
Mhm.
so extra sensitive. And we
Yeah,
really got to forgive and let the waters, flow by so we can be ready for the next shift that's taking us to a new place. It's like the
yeah.
Star Trek motto, to go where no one has gone before.
Yes. I know. Every week I wait for the next Star Trek to come. I'm so excited by that show because they're showing us where we are, and I'm sure that this was divinely, downloaded
Oh,
to whoever wrote the show because they're talking about creation, the beings who created, you know, um, those secrets are now going to be found by humanity. And we're doing that now with Ascension, and they're doing it in Star Trek. So it's a lot of fun, just enjoy
that's
these
it.
changes. Yeah.
These
And say,
next two
ooh,
weeks are about enjoying and grounding and settling down after all of this
mhm,
disruption and flares, and just settle down and enjoy as much as possible. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it really is. I mean, and people tend to do things last minute now. I'm just thinking about we're having a talk and in-person thing, which I haven't done since Morocco. And it's in California, and you can come, and especially if you're close by. But it's going to be so much fun talking about
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah.
things that have happened. So there's all these layers that are built up. And what are we going to do in the future? Because some of those things are going to come back in and they're going to benefit humanity again. We
Hmm.
always think we're like rebuilding something. You know how fashion comes in? So fashion, it like cycles, right?
Yes. Yes.
And also technology cycles. And we're going to get
Hmm.
amazing technology, and we're also going to get ET technology. So we'll have
Hmm.
some of the technology that we've had in the past that was hidden, and we're going to have technology that we've never actually used before, except for maybe when humanity was first born. Because humanity agreed to be in this really dense situation for quite a while and kind of got stuck in it, you know? They kind of got like, they couldn't
Hmm.
see their way out, because you agree to not have any knowledge anymore. You agree to have a veil, and then you forget what's beyond the
Wow.
veil. Yeah,
That's so important too, is breaking that agreement, because that is not appropriate anymore.
no, it's not appropriate, and the agreement is broken. And the group agreement, humanity's, what do you call it? Like the collective agreement has changed. So we
Yeah. Okay.
agreed to take the veil down, but the mind still has a veil. So the mind is like slowly allowing things to be seen so that we don't go too out of whack too fast. Like we're
Yeah.
not we are becoming Alice in Wonderland, I guess, but slowly, you know, so it's not too overwhelming.
Yeah, our storyline's going to be different than hers too.
Way different. Way different. It's just we're discovering so much.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the White Rabbit stuff came from. So if you think about it, a lot of it is similar to the Alice story, but we're going way beyond that. we're going to see how creation actually works, because we are creators, and we're going to know that
Yes.
we're doing it, and we're going to do it with joy and love and, you know, anticipation and happiness and all that in the future. It's so fun. Yep.
Yeah, foster that, gestate that. That sounds good. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep. So this was really fun. I'm excited that the new moon is happening and that the planets are aligned just in the perfect way, of course, for the energies that are
Always, this one,
happening. Yeah. Yeah, the
yeah,
energies are
it helps us
so big.
interpret them. It helps us be in, more confident. It helps us also kind of, kind of see the timing and be a little patient when we need to be a little patient. And Taurus is a very patient sign. So we might need a little extra patience. So just enjoy what's happening. And when things are gonna like shift again, but right now on the mental. It's on the mental
Yeah.
that's going on. So
Yeah, it's the allowing of who we really are to come in and to
yes,
start seeing it. So it's really fun. Like once you can kind of see somebody's soul, like you can feel it, it feels so good to like know the person, but to know the being that's within the vessel is so much more fulfilling on top of it all. There's
yeah,
just so much more that we haven't allowed ourselves to see that we're now starting to, and it's a lot of fun. Yep, we're on a
through the
magical ride.
gateway. Yes,
Yes,
the
yeah,
gateway into the garden. Yeah, the
hmm,
secret garden is going to be opened up. So I'll meet you
yeah,
there.
yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Kelley. This was a lot of fun. It was beautiful too, and it explains a lot. So I really appreciate it.
Yes, love astrology for that reason. Yeah, I've been doing
Hmm.
it for like over 50 years now. And it's this cosmic language is it's been such a help to my growth, and I like to be able to help other people also see the possibilities and be acknowledged for who you
Yes,
are. That's a beautiful part of it. Hmm.
yeah. It's really important because everybody has something slightly different that they're bringing, but everybody's valuable the moment that they are born as a soul,
Yeah.
as a human being, whatever it is, it's instantaneous. You matter right away. Yep.
Hmm. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks,
thank you too.
everybody.
Have a good moon cycle. Till next
Thank
time.
you. Yes, soon. Bye, Kelley.